Hi, everybody. This is Eric with Smart Pot Fabric Planners coming back to you with another great episode of the Growing Revolution Smart Podcast. We have a great guest and a Smart Pot super fan coming to us from Kuwait in the Middle East, Alzainah Albabtain. And I have a
Yes.
number of questions for her about her background and how she got into gardening and kind of what she's doing in the Middle East to be an advocate for gardening and agriculture in general. So thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So, you're kind of a social media, huge personality in the Middle East and worldwide, I'm sure. Can you describe, I guess,
Well,
your childhood as far as gardening? Like, is that something you did growing up as a youth?
not at all. In fact, as a child, I found plants and agriculture a very boring subject. So I only got into it as a freshman in college, by coincidence even. So sometimes I imagine my life and I look back, what what would it have been without me getting into gardening at that later stage in life? So I wasn't a gardener at all. I didn't see people growing their own food around me ever.
So what did
Yeah.
you go to school for originally?
So as a freshman, I was in visual communications. So that kind of helped me in creating the content that I do right now on my page. And I'm just a creative person, and having this outlet with my account, I'm able to like it's an outlet for me. And with this niche, which is gardening and healthy cooking, using my own produce, so that's
Yeah,
nice.
and it makes sense that your background is kind of in visual communications because your social media posts and your
Hmm.
pictures and videos are, look very professional, like somebody with a great
Thank you.
eye for that sort of thing is doing it. So that makes sense. And I think a lot of people who go to
Yeah.
college end up, finding something else along the road and then traveling down that path. And,
Yes.
whatever leads you to success
Hmm.
is all that really matters, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
so then you
Hmm.
started your main gardening journey back in I think 2009, and was that when you were a freshman in college or afterwards?
Yes, I was. And it hit me like a bus gardening because I fell in love with the hobby and I was so passionate at the beginning. And so you can imagine me with my classes, and this whole college thing was new to me. And I used to take classes with long breaks so I could drive back home, tend to my tomatoes, okay, and then get back to class smelling all tomatoey in class. So it was a big part of my life then. And I did all of my experiments, and I learned a lot through YouTube and through articles. And at that time, I created my first blog. It was through WordPress. This was before
Right.
social media, and I started from there. Yeah.
Nice. So did you end up taking like switching your major to like biology or botany
No,
or
no, no, no,
anything?
no,
You just kind of continued to
no,
dabble.
no, no, no.
Okay.
Yes, I was always like entrepreneurial, and I knew if I was going to do something in the future, I didn't have to study for it. I can learn anything. At this day and age, you can learn anything
A
online for
hundred
free
percent.
if you know how
I
to.
always
Yeah,
say if I had to do
yeah.
it all over again, I don't know if I would have gone to university because basically
Hmm.
everything that I learned there I could have learned in books or online courses. So,
Hmm.
whatever gets you
Yes,
to where you need to go, that's the best way.
yeah.
So
So I kind of only chosen visual communication just because I was good at it. So I kind of focused on my side hustles at
nice,
that time.
nice. I love your Instagram
Yeah.
handle, It All Grows. Now, how did you come up with that? And is
Yes.
there anything that you found doesn't do well by you?
Mm-hmm. So there's a song called Chicago by Sufjan Stevens. Are you familiar? And there's in the chorus they go, all things grow, all things grow. And then I wanted my blog to be called All Things Grow. And thank God that this was unavailable as the blog URL. So the next thing was It All Grows. I wanted something with a pun or a play on words at that time. And then It All Grows, when I started using it, it just clicked and I fell in love with the handle. And this is what I chose later for my Instagram account as soon as Instagram
Nice.
started. So I had this first mover's advantage into the
N-
Instagram
Nice.
world. Yeah.
So what were you
Mhm.
doing before you became a gardening influencer? And when did you start the Plantnmore company?
Um, I was, as we discussed, I was just going through my college experience. And then I quickly decided that this was something I wanted to explore further because the passion I saw in myself for gardening was unreal. And for me, when I'm passionate about something, I can self-learn it, as I did with photography or with video creation. So I went into visual communications already knowing these skills. Um, so um, so I decided that I wanted to do something to do with gardening, and at that time, you have to know that in our local region, gardening wasn't popular. It wasn't trendy. It was something that was thought of as a challenge because there's this mainstream idea that our weather is too harsh, our climate is too challenging for anyone to dabble with home gardening. It'll be too expensive, not worth it. It's too hot. But come to think of it, it's only 4 months of sweltering heat. They are 4 months of you'd melt in these 4 months, but you have 8 months of comfortable, cool, nice weather that you'd want to spend outdoors. So I felt like everyone was yeah, it's worth it to garden. It's worth it to get into this hobby. Anyway, so when I saw that It All Grows, I wanted to, I did the, I created my Instagram to prove to myself and to everyone that it does all grow, and I wanted to make it easier for everyone to grow. So all of these missing materials that I always, whenever someone would go to Europe or to the States or anywhere where I knew these products were available, I'd always ask them to bring me things. So sometimes people would go to the US and they wouldn't tell me because they know that if I knew, I would give them this huge shipment of seeds to bring back. I even asked someone to bring me earthworms at some point. Yeah. And now I sell earthworms.
That's awesome.
So this is a, yeah, full
Well,
circle
they
moment.
say that necessity
Um,
is the mother of invention. So if you
yes.
don't have what you need to do what you need to do, you got to find it and bring it to where you're at.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I created Plantnmore to be the store that I wish I had found when I was a beginner. With a lot of suppliers, including one of our favorite suppliers, Smart Pots, we offer what gardeners would benefit from growing organically in our climate. And our climate isn't as so different than growing anywhere else. It's just shifted. So, for example, people in Europe or in the States, in some states would have the frost period where they take a break and a lot of
Yeah.
plants will die. Some would overwinter, but a lot will. It's the same with us. Some plants will, they won't overwinter, they'll over summer, okay, and some will die. And for us, we can either decide to take a break or to withstand the heat and grow heat-loving plants. So I just think that it's a misjudgment when people misregard the
Yeah.
weather.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard the Middle
Mm.
East summer definitely compared to like, the winter in the
Yes, of
northern
course.
hemisphere. And but even at the same time, like you said, there are still some plants that, will survive in those harsh conditions. You just have to.
Yes, and some will
Yeah,
thrive.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Now
There's this plant called Egyptian spinach.
no, go
Sorry, I'm
ahead.
sorry. Melochia in Arabic. It's an Egyptian leafy green. It's what they create jute from. This does amazingly well under the full sun at 114 degrees Fahrenheit. So this was a huge surprise to everyone when we started growing it, and now it's a staple for everyone in the
Nice.
Middle East. to grow in the summer as a cover crop, which they can eat, and it's very
Awesome.
nutritious. So some things will do amazing in the heat once you
Right.
try them. It
Yeah.
all
You,
grows.
you know, you don't know until you
Hashtag.
try, right? I
Yes,
saw
yes,
in 2019 that you were chosen by HGTV to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest gardening class. How did they select you, and
yes.
what were you teaching there?
So they selected me as the highest, the gardener with the highest following in Arab speaking. They chose me as the person with the highest following in the Arab speaking accounts. And it was to create a workshop slash lesson. And we had to go over a certain number to break the highest. It was for the highest lesson. So we needed to break 286 participants. And to me, this was a huge challenge because I have a problem with public speaking. I had to break a lot of, this was to me a big challenge, and it was amazing. I came fully prepared, and we also gave giveaways with using smart pots. And you guys were gracious enough to send a rush order. We had to make a very quick order, and those 300 participants got gift smart pots, and they had to transplant something into another smart pot. So each one got two smart pots to go, and we've got approved with the Guinness certificate.
Nice.
And it was a very, very successful event, which I'm very proud of.
Yeah, not many people can say that they're a Guinness Book of World Records holders. So,
Yes,
congratulations.
I've never expected it.
Yeah, I
Thank
saw
you,
some video of the event,
thank
and
you.
it looked like, there were a lot more people than you guys even expected there. So there was some logistical
Yes,
challenges with
yes.
just accommodating everybody who
And
wanted to
some people
participate.
came in from other, yeah, some people traveled to attend this event. Can you imagine?
That's awesome.
Not everyone was from Kuwait. Yeah, so it was like a meet and greet slash this event, and it just goes to show you that how big of a gardening community we have now in a
Yeah.
desert place.
Now, let
So
me ask,
all of the countries in the Middle East have desert
yeah,
climate.
how many followers do you have on your social media channels, roughly?
I have on Instagram, I have almost 290,000. And then I just recently created a TikTok account, which is 2 months old. I have there 48,000 followers. But I'm kind of lazy with TikTok. I'll just upload my reels, to be honest.
Nice.
So I'll create the reels and I'll upload them on
Nice. Are
TikTok.
are most of your followers in the Middle East, or are they all over the world then?
Yes, yes. Because I'm very keen on posting in
Hmm.
Arabic, just to make up for the lack of now there isn't a lack with the popularity at this time, but back when I first started, there weren't any Arabic content creators in this niche, so I made sure to post in Arabic, and so my most of my following is
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Arabic speaking. Yeah,
Now I saw that.
yeah, it's what we
Yeah.
need.
Now I saw that you had partnered with True Leaf Market to create a line of seed packets that were in
Mm.
Arabic, and I think that's a really cool idea. As I would imagine that pretty much most of the seed packets that are currently being sold in the Middle East are probably in English. And, I'm sure the younger generation knows a good amount of English, but maybe not so much the older folks. How did this project come about for
Yeah.
you?
This project was always on the back burner. I always wanted to do something like this, just as a gift from me to my followers, because I didn't have to do it. Seeds were selling anyway. But I know that, yeah, a lot of people were having trouble with the instructions, not just because of the language, but because of the instructions themselves. Because when the seed packet tells you to grow something indoors 4 weeks after the last frost, what will someone in my
Oh,
region
so
do?
true.
So this was even to me, yeah, this was in my case very confusing when I was starting out. I was lost as to when to grow what. Um, so the seed packets will work with our seasons. specifically. We use the metric scale, so everything had to be changed. Even the degree, centigrade, Fahrenheit, everything had to be catering. And even the seed descriptions I made to match what we found here in growing these varieties ourselves. So it was very fun to make these seed packets ours. And even the pictures, most of these pictures were from our garden.
Nice.
So this was very cool. Yeah, and I plan to even have my customers' pictures on the packets in the future, and to create more packets in Arabic so that at one point we only have Arabic seeds on the website. This is my
Yeah.
dream.
No, that's an awesome initiative.
Hmm.
Um, now getting
Hmm.
into, I guess,
Thank
your
you.
favorite like plants to grow. What is your favorite plant to grow, specifically in a smart pot out there, and why would that be?
I didn't find a plant that didn't do well on a smart pot, if not better than in the ground or in a raised bed. You can imagine I have 20 raised beds and I still grow in smart pots, and I still install more and more and more smart pots only because of the results we're getting. So I grow everything in smart pots, from vigorous growing plants like pumpkins and tomatoes and to leafy greens. And I love growing different kinds of basil, and I'm a big pesto fan, so I grow a lot of leafy greens for pesto because my kids
Nice.
love it. And yeah, I grow everything in smart pots.
It all grows in smart pots.
It all grows, yeah. And when we started getting introduced to smart pots, I when I saw that cannabis growers preferred smart pots, it opened my eyes, because I knew that they would only choose the best and with the fastest
Yes.
results, you know. So so this was an eye opener for me when I first was
Yeah,
introduced.
I have found that cannabis growers generally are the most accepting of like new ideas, new technology, because they're, just on
Hmm.
the hunt for the best and the most. And traditional
Yes,
agriculture kind of follows behind them. Um,
yes.
now,
And this is why we also like this past year we partnered with Dr. Earth, and this is also something we kind of got inspired by from cannabis growers, because it's also a favorite amongst
awesome.
yeah. So we work with Dr. Earth as well.
I don't know if you know this, but Milo from Dr. Earth was one of our first guests
Yes,
on the
I enjoyed
podcast.
I enjoyed that episode
You know,
very much. Yeah,
he
I
was
enjoyed that
such a
episode
treat
very
to
much.
interview. He's such a nice guy and such a great advocate for gardening
Hmm.
in general. Loved doing that
Building
interview.
the sword. Yeah.
Now, I guess,
Hmm.
do you have any gardening mentors or influencers that you follow? You know, besides Milo kind of being a trailblazer, is there anyone else that you like to pay
Hmm.
attention to?
So back in the day, when I didn't find any local or Arabic people to follow, I was big on YouTube. So so I enjoyed Growing Your Greens by John Kohler. There's this channel by this guy called Ray. I think it's pronounced Praxis something. It's a very old YouTube channel. And then currently I enjoy Diana from Homestead and Chill. But the thing I like the most right now is that around me, locally and in other countries in the Middle East, the my mentors are now the people who just now started gardening and are killing it because they have a shortcut into everything. Because myself and other gardening creators have made it so easy to make it work from the start, if not from a couple of seasons. So so I'm learning so much from just the people around me who are also creating content. So it's a beautiful, amazing gardening community right now.
Absolutely. I always say, like, even the master gardeners are always learning. Yeah, I forget a lot of the tips that I learned. So even just relearning
Yes,
things and kind of getting that back into my
of
mind
course, you never stop.
is always helpful. Um, do you have a
Hmm.
favorite gardening tip for growing in the Middle East?
The most important one I think would be to follow the seasons correctly, look at what successful gardeners are their tips about the correct timings to start some plants indoors. Head starting seeds indoors is a big thing also
Sure.
here. So at the end of the summer, at the end of our summer, we start our tomatoes. So it's the exact opposite of you guys. Right now, we're watching our tomatoes give the end of their life, and creators in the West are starting their seeds indoors. So the timing, the watering is important. Just I don't like to get so technical with gardening because to me, and I wish it is to other people, it's like it's something relaxing and fun, and it shouldn't be so technical and worrisome, and it shouldn't be a
Right.
chore. So so for me, the biggest tip is just
Yeah,
enjoy it.
have fun in the garden and you'll want to
Yeah,
be there.
yeah, have fun in the
Mhm.
sun. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, I guess getting
hmm
into the summertime, what is still growing for you in the summer?
We have a lot growing in the summer, actually. Um, we can provide shade, and we don't have to. But if we do provide shade, we can still plant sweet potatoes, peanuts, New Zealand spinach, Malabar spinach, melons, okra, some types of basil, and yeah, and there are some biennials that will make it. But I usually like to start everything fresh the next year. And sometimes I just let the drip irrigation work and I sit back and wait until the next season. But it does live
Nice,
through.
nice. Um, so
hmm
you've done a lot in kind of a short time frame. What are your plans for the future?
I think as much as I think me and my colleagues in the gardening community online have done to spread awareness and to make gardening cool and trendy and get people gardening. I think we still have a lot of work to do. And the influx of new gardeners during the COVID lockdown showed us how little people know about gardening because so many people wanted to garden, but they had no idea how to do so. So I think I want to keep making gardening attractive, cool, easy, um, friendly. Okay, and I want to do more to serve Arabic-speaking gardeners in the future. So more to Arabic products. I want to create more to
Yeah,
help them.
yeah. Until
Yeah.
everybody has a plant on their windowsill, there still is opportunity
Yes.
for us to expand and be advocates for the gardening community.
hmm
Awesome.
And to just teach kids about food. Yeah.
I think in general, especially in the United States, we have a lack of knowledge of agriculture and, what is in our foods. So the more that we can,
hmm
be advocates for eating healthy and, a healthy,
hmm
sustainable lifestyle, all the better. So we're totally on board with
Yes.
you on that. So um,
hmm
Alzaina, that was basically all the questions that I had for you today. Where can people get in touch with you on social media? What are all your handles that you're using?
So I have one handle, which is it all grows. Yeah, and that goes for Instagram and
Awesome.
TikTok
Are you on
at the
YouTube as
moment.
well?
Mm. I try, but I'm not. I don't consider myself on
Okay, so
YouTube.
so
No. Mm.
mainly Instagram then.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's, yeah. I have three kids I'm running after, so this is the extent of what I can currently do.
Well,
Yeah, maybe in
Yeah,
the
well,
future.
speaking of, we definitely appreciate your time here. It's evening
Thank you.
time where you're at in Kuwait and morning time over here in the United
Yes.
States. So, I wanted to thank you for joining us today
No.
and for being a strong
Thank
smart
you.
pod advocate. We definitely appreciate your work out there.
Thank you. And I love Smart Pots again. And thank you for having me. This was an
Yeah,
absolute
it was
pleasure.
great to meet you, and hopefully one day we can meet in person.
Inshallah. This is a new word maybe for you. It means
Oh,
God willing
I know
or hopefully.
inshallah.
Yeah.
I know a little bit of
You
Arabic.
know Inshallah, huh? Okay, so that's Inshallah,
Salam
Inshallah.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much, Alzainah.
See you. Bye bye.